Good morning. If you'll rise in body or spirit as you like and join me in singing. Morning has broken like the first morning, blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Mine is the sunrise, mine is the morning, born of the one light, even saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's great creation of the new day. Scene change. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. You're not alone. You're not alone. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. Keep moving on. Keep moving on. So you gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. I know you're scared. I'm scared too. But here I am. Right next to you. So gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. One foot in front of the other and lead with love. And lead with love. And lead with love.
Good morning. Welcome to Namako Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Reverend Dr. Clare Hammoor. I get to be your guest minister today, and I'm joined by Vicki Clark and by Slip. Vicki reminded me of a quote by Meister Eckhart where he says, "If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough." So thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Slip. Thank you, everyone upstairs, for helping us out with the service today. This is a Come As You Are congregation, and you're very welcome here, however you came. I want to extend a special welcome to any visitors. Do we have any visitors with us for the first time today? Great. If you see a hand raised around you, can you give them a little love? Give them a little high five. Hello, good morning. Here at Namako UU, we foster a beloved community that celebrates diversity, strives for peace and justice, acts mindfully for the good of the planet, and inspires spiritual growth through a free and loving truth for search and meaning. We honor the ground we walk on and acknowledge this land as the traditional and ancestral home of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, Ute nations and peoples. We recognize and honor the indigenous people as steward of this land, that we vow to reconcile the deep wounds that still shape our world today. A few quick announcements before we start. On the back of your order of service, you'll see all of these, but a couple things to notice. There's children's Christmas choir rehearsal after the service today. Next Sunday, December 14th, Janet Wright and the Children's Choir with Cherry Sokolowski and Claire Lute will lead Joy to the World, a service, and then you'll see some exciting events happening at the bottom of the order of service as well. A couple weeks ago, I was at Whole Foods, and I was frantically looking through the New York Times, as I'm wont to do, seeing all the horrible news that's happening. And I was finished checking out and grabbing my bags, and I just looked up from my phone for a second to look at the cashier and say, "Thank you so much." And she said, "I love you, goodbye." And then she froze, and she got so scared. And I was like, "Oh, I love you too." And I just grabbed my bags and went out. Today's service is all about the little ways that we use little words like that, little things that come up, ways to take care of each other in the face of insurmountable harm and insurmountable trauma. There are so many ways that we can continue to love, that we can continue to be light, that we can continue to show the value of liberal religion in the world. And so to begin, I invite us to take a big breath in and to let it go. And when you're ready, I invite you to join me in saying our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. I invite you to share a little bit of your love with people around you with a hug, a handshake, a high five, saying, "Good morning." I invite you one more time, without saying anything, but just to take a look around and maybe make eye contact with someone you didn't get to talk to. Just welcoming them, bringing the whole room deeper into the space.
Good morning. I love all of you too. I invite you to turn your brain up on high gear as I share with you this quote from Bell Hook. To begin by always thinking of love as an action rather than a feeling is one way in which anyone using the word in this manner automatically assumes accountability and responsibility. We're often taught that we have no control over our feelings, yet most of us accept that we choose our actions, that intention and will form what we do. We also accept that our actions have consequences. To think of actions as shaping feelings is one way we rid ourselves of conventionally accepted assumptions, such as that parents love their children and that we simply fall in love without exercising will or choice. We light our chalice today with a spark of light to remember that love is as love does.
When
there any young people or people who are young of heart that could see better coming up front? You're welcome to. Today's book is called A Chest Full of Words. On a mild autumn morning, Oscar was doing his daily digging when he discovered a magnificent wooden chest. And there was a very small child pushing a very large chest out of the ground. Amazing! What could possibly be stashed inside this old chest? And we see he's imagining diamonds, he's imagining a crown, he's imagining wild inventions, he's imagining a cat. And there he is trying very hard to open up the chest.
Maybe a lantern?
What do you think?
I saw in that picture like that.
What is that?
It's called, I know, so, oh here, I know my trucks, and I know that it's called a loader.
A loader! That's amazing. Thank you for telling us that. Oscar finally managed to open it. It was full, all right, but only with words. All sorts of words, all jumbled up. And there we see the chest full of a bunch of words that look just like a mess of letters. Slightly disappointed, Oscar fished out a word from the top. It says fluorescent. He holds it up, he squished it, he stretched it, he straightened it out once again. What was he supposed to do with it? He crumpled the word, tossed it into the bushes, and stomped off. And there we see the word fluorescent falling into the bushes. A moment later, a fluorescent hedgehog, looking rather peeved, scampered toward Oscar. And there is a bright yellow hedgehog that came out of those bushes. Oscar rushed back to the chest, and he grabbed another word, and he slapped it on an old oak tree. It says, hairy. Whoa! Oscar had never seen anything like this, an old oak tree with a new hairdo. And there it is with bright pink, big curls of hair. It's so silly! Full of excitement, he reached for another word. It says grandiose, and he flung it at a birdhouse. And there is a bird castle that's appeared. What the heck? And then he saw the word monstrous, and he flicked it at a beetle. Oh no, he'd overdone it. The beetle was too squarey. Quickly, he tossed the word adorable at the same beetle. And there's the beetle drinking boba, floating in the sky with a little feather attached to the top of its head. It's very adorable now. He threw bulbous at the neighbor's dog and featherlight onto the backhoe and docile onto a crocodile. He started tossing words all over. But Oscar had unpacked a little too enthusiastically. Suddenly, the treasure chest was empty. He turned it upside down and gave it a shake.
He turned the excavator into a car.
I know, isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's another type of vehicle, but there's a house upside down.
I do see the house upside down. That's amazing. Thank you for showing us that. But Oscar had no words left, so he stood there wordless. How do we think Oscar's feeling here?
There's a rainbow. There's a rainbow.
You see a rainbow?
Yeah.
Wow, where?
Right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's feeling down. Oscar desperately needed more words. He didn't know where to find any. He asked Mr. Schmidt, who happened to be rushing past, but Mr. Schmidt had no time for Oscar or words. "There are many important things to do than give away words, Oscar," said his neighbor. And there she is telling him to get lost. Then he ran into Carl, who was making a home, and Carl said, "I've got nothing. Words are wasted effort. Why don't you help me build a balcony instead?" Finally, he asked Louise, who was watering her garden, "Do you have any words I could use? I've run out." "Of course," she replied. "I always keep some handy." And there's Louise in the garden having a great time. And she comes out with this huge stack of words. Louise came back with a mountain of words, and Oscar's eyes grew wide. "Where did you get these?" "All over the place. I focus all my senses and go searching for them," she said. "Sometimes during the day, sometimes at night, whenever I'm wide awake, because you can find words anytime, any place." There they are laying together, and she says, "Words have magical powers. Use them with care, and you can make the world blossom. And once in a while, someone will give you a new word. And there she is with the word summer plum sweet as they're laying together in the grass. From then on, Oscar found words everywhere. He heard oceanic when he was by the ocean. He tasted tangy, spongy, velvety cake. And he even felt his heart say huggable, devoted, and cozy when he was next to the little fluorescent hedgehog. Oscar took all the words he found and placed them in his treasure chest. And from time to time, he took them out when it suited the moment, and he shared the joy. And there he is with all these wild things that we saw. There's a penguin on a tightrope. There's toilet paper dancing in the air. What do you see?
Boat.
There's a flying boat! And that's the end. I'll invite us to make a little tunnel. Go out. Each week, you support the work of this congregation in all the ways we live our values through your own generosity. In addition to supporting this church, half of your donations support a local nonprofit organization helping us to make a difference beyond our walls. These months, we're donating to Neighbor to Neighbor. I ask that you give generously and also that you pay special attention to our special music we have during the offertory today.
Again, I share with you words from Bell Hook. I think some of you will relate to this, or you'll know somebody who might. One of the best guides to how to be self-loving is to give ourselves the love we are often dreaming about receiving from others. She says, there was a time when I felt lousy about my over 40 body, saw myself as too fat, or too this, or too that. Yet I fantasized about finding a lover who would give me the gift of being loved as I am. It's silly, isn't it, that I would dream of someone else offering to me the acceptance and affirmation I was withholding from myself. This was the moment when the maxim, you can never love anybody if you are unable to love yourself, made clear sense. And she says, do not expect to receive the love from someone else you do not give yourself.
I'm going to invite us to take that into a meditation. And so I invite you to be comfortable in your seat, whatever that feels like. If it feels good to close your eyes, that's great, or maybe just to look down. And let's begin by taking a big breath in together. Hold on to it, and let it go. And take another big breath in, breathing all the way into your hips. Hold on to it, and let it go. And one more all together, this time down to your toes because it feels so good. Take that big breath in. Hold on to it, and let it go. And I invite you to breathe however feels comfortable. I'm going to offer us this Andrea Gibson quote where they say, in any moment, on any given day, I can measure my wellness by this question. Is my attention on loving, or is my attention on who isn't loving me? Is my attention on loving, or is my attention on who isn't loving me? And so I'm going to invite us to give ourselves a little bit of love this morning. First, by noticing a part of you that needs some extra care. Maybe it's your heart, maybe it's your neck, maybe a shoulder, maybe your knee, maybe it's your belly. What part of you needs a little bit of extra love today? If it feels good, I invite you to just put a hand on that part of you. And on your next breath in, send some positive love to that part of you. And now I want to invite you to find a part of you that is feeling buzzy today. A part that's feeling loved, a part that you want to celebrate. Maybe it's your lips, maybe it's your heart again, maybe it's your fingertips. What's a part of you that's feeling buzzy and alive? And I invite you to hold that part of you, wherever it is. And to also send some love on your next breath to the part of you that's feeling buzzy and alive today. And now on the next breath in, I'm going to invite you to reach your hands way up above your head. Take a big breath in, giving yourself a big stretch, making your body big and full and alive. And as you exhale, I invite you to bring your arms down to wrap them around yourself. Giving yourself some more love this morning. Telling yourself, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. And when you're ready, you can let your arms go. And you can flutter your eyes open and come back. This is the point in our service each week where we offer joys and sorrows. And I'm going to ask to frame it a little bit around what's some love maybe that you've received this week or recently that's feeling really good, and or who's someone or something in your life you'd like to send some love to afterward. And I'm going to invite us to respond after we hear each person speak by giving them a heartbeat, which lets us know a couple things. It lets them know that they're witnessed, that they've been heard, and it reminds us that our bodies are always longing to sync with each other. If you hug someone long enough, your hearts will start beating in the exact same rhythm together. Our nervous systems are longing to be synchronized. And so it's a way to let each other know that we're caring for you. So if someone has a brief personal joy or sorrow you'd like to share, a moment you celebrated love, or a moment you felt loved.
My name's Andrea, and for me, every time I play music, I am giving myself so much love. Slip and I are playing through 8 songs of West Side Story, and it's just so wonderful. My husband has been in rehab, and I send him love. I wish all of you, he's watching probably on Zoom, can you, all of you say, hi, Alan?
Hi, Alan!
And we are hoping that he will be able to come home soon. We'll get the word this week, and he's healing great. And I just send him so much love. I go see him every day, and to get, you know, my right, he's like my right arm, and it's like for it to be put back. So, hi, Alan.
So for the love of music, for the nourishment of music, for Alan, and for the love that we just saw right here. Let's give a heartbeat. Thank you.
I'm Kathy. I give lots of love to Claire for driving up from Denver and being here today. We always love to have you here. And to my son Nathan, who's doing really, really well. And I spent time with him yesterday, and I got a lot of love from him, and I hope we can all send a lot of love, and maybe he's on Zoom. If he got up.
Hi, Nathan. So let's give some love to Nathan. Let's give some Kathy, who just keeps finding reservoirs of love to give.
Good morning. My name is Clay, and Mary Ellen and I just flew into Denver last night. We spent the last 2 weeks with my mom in Montgomery, Alabama. She's 96. Have a great joy. She's doing really, really well. We hadn't been able to see her in over 2.5 years, so we just got to spend 2 weeks in Montgomery, where I was born and grew up. And we're just really pleased to be back, and everything went really well. Thank you.
Wow. So for the joy of family, the joy of homecoming, and the joy of returning here, let's give some love.
Slip. I just spent time in Vermont with my friend who just went through her last infusion for chemo treatment. She's doing very well, but also it was very much in attunement, in alignment, very nourishing for me, so lots of love. And I'd like to send love to them and to my sibling whose birthday it is today, and to my friend who's going through TMS treatment, which is a really alternative, difficult treatment for current depression. And also to a friend who, for relational reasons beyond me, we are not speaking, and I don't know if it will ever change, and it's very painful. So, love to all of those people.
So for loving through celebrations, for loving through pain, and for loving ourselves along the way, let's give up.
And we have one on Zoom. Janet says, I'm thankful for all the love the congregation has been sending me during my surgeries and recuperation. I can feel it, and I love you all. And another one, Nina says, Nina and Jeff are joyful and grateful to Steve from the Caring Committee for helping us with our move. And great thanks to Kathy Spoon for connecting us. Much love to you both.
So for all the ways this congregation has loved and continues to love, let's celebrate here. Let's let that land with one more big breath in and let it go.
Claire just gave me responsibility. Not fair. Do you want to stand or would you like to sit? I think you want to sit.
Share a little bit of your love, my friend. Share a little bit of your love. Share a little bit of your love, my friends, and it'll come back to where it began. Share a little bit of your love, my friends. Share a little bit of your love. Share a little bit of your love, my friends, and it'll come back to where it began. And watch it grow. Watch it grow. Watch it grow to where it touches every man. Help it grow. Help it grow. Help it grow by only reaching out to someone else. Share a little bit of your love, my friends. Share a little bit of your love. Share a little bit of your love, my friends, and it'll come back to where it began. Share a little bit of your love, my friends. Share a little bit of your love. Share a little bit of your love, my friends, and it'll come back to where it began. And see it shine, see it shine, see it shine on every face where it has been. Help it shine, help it shine, help it shine on everybody, shine on everybody again. 2, 3, 4. Share a little bit of your love, my friends. Share a little bit of your love. Share a little bit of your love, my friends, and it'll come back to where it began. Share a little bit of your love, my friends. Share a little bit of your love. Share a little bit of your love, my friends, and it'll come back to where it began.
Beautiful job sitting.
I'm not very good about taking advantage of freedom of the pulpit, but today I'm going to do it. On September 2nd of this year, the United States government began murdering people in the Caribbean. 87 people have been killed on boats accused of smuggling drugs and violence without trials or a shred of due process. Slaughtered by drones invisible to them. Some left for hours to drown before being bombed again. The justifications for these murders are flimsy appeals to white Christian nationalism. Calls of protecting the homeland and its imagined racial superiority are heralded by white men patronizing the American people with rehashed idioms. I have felt immobilized by this campaign of racialized, xenophobic attacks in my name. If the inherent worth and dignity of every person is at the core of who I am, how can I tolerate this direct affront to my values? And of course, this is just one thing in an ever-lengthening list of assaults. Liberal religion can feel feckless against such tyrannical power. Offering invitations to consider possibly thinking about loving kindness at one point feels slippery and kind of ineffective when we're up against bombs that magically appear from the sky to kill people with a soundtrack of full-throated justification from evangelical leaders. It's like we're supposed to believe that the God of the Hebrew Bible arrived through weapons and modern warfare. And that can make liberal religion feel small and hopeless because we don't take recourse in the arms of a mighty and vengeful God. We don't justify our actions through exclusion and self-righteousness. We can't fight on an equal playing field because we don't believe in those tools of warfare. What we do have is love. And this impossible commitment to the inherent worth and dignity of every being. We're left with honesty and complexity in the face of assuredness. Our hope for the future stands against fantasies of a non-existent past. And while white Christian nationalism speaks in pronouncements and provocations, we come alongside individual lives that have been lost. And we help their family members try to pick up the pieces. Because liberal religion is made up of specifics, of real people, and tiny details. And that's not the same kind of power as they have, but it's good. When I was in high school, I directed a student production of the play Dead Man Walking, based on the book by Sister Helen Prejean. You may have seen the film with Sean Penn and Susan Sarandon. The story follows Helen's journey as a death row chaplain with a man in Louisiana. We watch her meet him, form a relationship, and then she witnesses his execution. As I directed that play, something stirred inside me that I hadn't felt before. I couldn't believe that we murder people to show people that murdering people is wrong. I learned about the extenuating circumstances surrounding crime and the complexities of our criminal legal system. I learned that our justice system is imperfect, but it's better than nothing at all. I felt for the families of victims who were left to pick up the pieces, and I couldn't stop learning. I couldn't let go. And when I met Sister Helen later and other Franciscan nuns, they nudged me toward doing something about the feelings that I was having. They told me to put them into action. But what was I supposed to do about the death penalty? It was a behemoth. It was a monstrosity beyond my control. And I've never really been drawn to policy making or trying to play the long game in the legislature. I see that halls of power with so little accountability just aren't interesting to me. And they felt so far from the people who actually needed change. Wasn't there a way to love from where I was? It took me a while to realize that big dreams happen through tiny actions. What happened if I narrowed my focus? What would happen if I closed the aperture from the entire country down to just one human being? And that's when I discovered something personal and individual, something I could do in relationship with people who are most affected. So I started writing letters to guys on death row. They were brief musings from an undergrad. I bet I would cringe if I read them today. I'm sure there was philosophical waxing and shared outrage alongside trying to get to know people and to find our way together. They were just words, and those men still died at the hands of the state. But those words opened up a whole new world for me. They gave me something to do, somewhere to put my outrage. They made relationships that stood on the side of love. And they inspired me to dedicate my life to working with people inside. Because love is an action, as Bell Hooks tells us. It's a way to be accountable and responsible for ourselves amidst the chaos and the pain of the world. Today, I don't have answers to stopping murders in the Caribbean. What I do have are the multitude of ways we can be love in the world, in small acts that make it clear to ourselves and each other that every human being has dignity and is worth our attention. Today, in the face of unrelenting harm and trauma, I want to offer us something we can do, something that requires us to zoom in deeply into the tiniest moments in our lives, to take control of our actions, to be accountable to each other, to be responsible for a greater good in our community. Today, I want to offer manners. I'm talking about the little dance that we do every time someone holds the door open for us, or the duet of inviting someone over for dinner and receiving them into your home. The exchanges we've decided to offer to each other in words like please and thank you and I'm sorry and have a great day. Especially when we pause and make eye contact with each other, manners remind us that there is a center, and it's available to everyone, and everyone is better for it. This is my clarion call for love to come alive in these teeny tiny ways, for us to take the time to give and receive kind words and actions. Our words have magical powers. When we use them with care, we help the world bloom. Our words can help center our real relationships rather than the impossibilities of immediately changing massive systems. Because when I look up from the news on my phone and make eye contact with the cashier at Whole Foods, I have the ability to connect, and we can share in our humanity for a moment, and that's a blessing for us both. And I know they won't change everything all at once. They won't suddenly give us liberals the power to be able to rain hellfire on unsuspecting civilians, but I don't want that kind of power anyway. There are so many parts of white Christian nationalism that I want nothing to do with. But sometimes by standing against so many things, liberal religion forgets what it stands for. Sometimes by fracturing into so many subgroups and splinters of causes, we can forget the power of having a single, uniting, guiding principle. And for us, it's not dear leader. It's an idea that love will keep on growing to meet every moment we find ourselves in. Because love is as love does. And my friends, we're here to love. We're here to choose love over and over again, no matter how hard it is, in even the tiniest of actions. And yeah, it's slippery. And there's not a clear-cut catechism for love. And we have to do the work of deciding what love looks like moment to moment. But at least we're not being crushed under assuredness. A few years ago, I was able to bring Christmas dinner to a bunch of guys in a Colorado prison. 20 guys gathered around Chinese food that had been cooked hours before we got to Canyon City. Most of them will never be able to have a holiday on the outside again. But when I did a blessing over the food, I promised that if any of them got out, they were welcome to celebrate the holidays with my family in our home. And last week, I hosted Thanksgiving for 20 people in our tiny little house. And one of our first guests to arrive was from that Christmas dinner. He was having his first Thanksgiving in the free world after almost 30 years. And we stood in my kitchen and we marveled at what had changed in a few years and what hadn't. My friend went to prison because of drugs and violence, the kind of accusations that are enough for the US government to murder you today. And while he was incarcerated, he spent almost 10 straight years in solitary confinement, deprived of interaction with the outside world, except for letters, except for words from people he never met on the outside that randomly chose to write to him and give him hope. His life is one of the specifics, one of the deeply personal and nuanced examples of how love finds a way when we take our words seriously. His life has inherent worth and dignity, and so does our relationship. And honestly, that's about as good as it gets.
Would you rise and bow to your spirit and join me?
To me.
A few years ago, I was here for a meeting, and a group of us were discussing, as you use our wont to do, our favorite Mary Oliver poems. And Doug invited me to read this poem with him out loud. And I thought it's such a brilliant way to share the poem. So Vicki and I are going to use it as our extinguishing today.
Make of yourself a light, said the Buddha before he died.
I think of this every morning as the east begins to tear off its many clouds of darkness to send up the first signal, a white fan streaked with pink and violet evergreen.
An old man, he lay down between two sala trees, and he might have said anything, knowing it was his final hour.
The light burns upward. It thickens and settles over the fields.
Around him, the villagers gathered and stretched forward to listen.
Even before the sun itself hangs disattached in the blue air, I'm touched everywhere by its ocean of yellow waves.
No doubt he thought of everything that had happened in his difficult life.
And then I feel the sun itself as it blazes over the hills like a million flowers on fire, clearly not needed, yet I feel myself turning into something of inexplicable value.
Slowly, beneath the branches, he raised his head. He looked into the faces of that frightened crowd.
From your own chest full of words, make yourself a light. Let's do the work of love together. May it be so. Let's take one more big breath in here. Let's let it go.
Share a little bit of your love, my friends. Share a little bit of your love. Share a little bit of your love, my friends, and it'll come back to where it began. Share a little bit of your love, my friends. Share a little bit of your love. Share a little bit of your love, my friends, and it'll come back to where it began.
Let's give Slip some love. And let's give Andrea some love too.